Hello everyone, this is Michael Song and this is Intro to Revit ARC 162. This is basically BIM or Building Information Modeling. I'm super excited to kind of introduce this course to you guys, and if you guys are going to start on your architectural career and your journey, Revit is probably the most used software in our industry today. So it's really important that you guys become familiar with this software and become really actually proficient at it. I will be jumping back and forth from the slideshow to the actual software, and I'm hoping to make this thing or this course lively and fun, so let's get on with it. So when you first launch Revit on your software, you're going to be introduced to what I call the splash page here. And the splash page, for the most part, you will be in this models category, and of course there's families here, and the family is more of an advanced topic, so we'll probably cover that. I'm not sure whether end of the semester or maybe in the next class in ARC 164. So when you click new, meaning that you want to start up a brand new brand new model, right? It's going to ask you what type of template you guys want to use. And Revit comes with some various default template types here. For now, I'd like you guys to use the architecture template. So it has a lot of the pre-settings done for what most architects would need. Certainly it's not enough. In our office, we create our own custom template that we're always adjusting and modifying to fit our needs. But for our class purposes, you'll be using the architecture template. So before we get on to launching Revit, I like to kind of get vocabulary correctly, right? The difference between a Revit model versus family. So a Revit model is kind of like your actual project. So if your project is to design a house, so you get a house and you have a roof and your windows. Oops, it's a very fancy drawing. Your windows and doors. That would be considered, your Revit model. So when we say Revit model is equal to saying model, or it's just also equal to saying a project, your project. So your whole project or model. So it's really, we're saying the same thing. So, but when we say families, it's slightly a different terminology. So let me erase all this. So when we say Revit family, we're talking about really kind of, in a sense, groups of things. So for instance, if you have a plumbing family, in part of that plumbing family, you might find a toilet, a tub, a vanity, towel holders, towel rack, whatever you think is part of a plumbing group. So for instance, a wall family will have, let's say, stud walls, or your basically wood walls. You might have concrete walls, you might have block walls, but anything that is a wall would belong to a wall family. And then of course you have a window family, a door family, let me see, maybe a furniture family. So they're all categorized. So it's really important that you understand, like in future lectures, when I say, hey, we're going to go ahead and load a wall family, just know what I'm talking about. And then, so to add to the confusion, there are other types of families in Revit. There's annotation family. So what that means is when we're drawing a floor plan, sometimes we have to put text and we have to point things and say this is whatever that is, and so those are called annotations. So you have annotation family, you have dimension family, you have title block family. There's so everything we will use the word family quite often in Revit, and just remember we're just talking about groups, right? I guess it's equal to say wall grouping and plumbing fixture grouping and things like that. All right. Okay, so let's get to kind of launching a new project. So again, we're in the Models tab here. You're going to click New. and you're going to get introduced to this dialog box. You are going to choose Imperial Architectural Template. And then so when you first launch your Revit and using the architectural template, this is a screen that you will see. Let us kind of go through the basics of what you're looking at. So the main tab area is this whole thing here. And then the properties bar will be here. Again, super important. You'll be looking at this properties bar all the time. And then the project browser, which are all your views, your floor plan views, your section views, your schedules, like anything that goes onto a construction document is going to be part of a view. And so your project browser view is going to be there. And these views are broken up into subcategories of views. So you're going to have views that are associated with anything that's a floor plan, in a sense, whatever it is you're looking at from top down. And then you're going to have another set of views called elevations, ceiling plans, 3D views, and then these are different types of views. Either they're sheets of paper or schedules and other things that we'll get into as we move along with a project in Revit. So before we start to do anything, and I know it's taking a little bit of time to get here, but it's really, really important that you guys understand the concept of levels in Revit. All right, so I want you guys to get accustomed to naming your levels. There's a typo here, adjusting levels and making new levels, right? So it's super, super, super important. So what are levels? You could think of levels as floors. So if you have, let's say, a 2-story building that you're working on, let's say this is a house here, and there's a floor here and another. So this bottom floor is a floor, right? So that could be called level 1. Or you can call that first floor, whatever you want to call it, but that's a level. So then your second floor will be another level. And then you could have a roof level. So what's really important about this is that you want to establish your levels and understand what they are in the beginning. Because when you draw a wall, they're going to ask you, hey, this wall, where does that wall live? It lives between level 1 and level 2, right? So you guys will have to know that. So that way the wall could be attached and associated with a level. Again, it's very, very important. So wall, there are many different types of wall in architecture. You can have concrete wall, wood wall, walls made out of paper, walls made out of drywall, walls made out of tile. So there's many, many different types of walls. And the walls are kind of a sandwich of many different materials. So for instance, let's say we have outside. Outside here, and then you have your house wall, and then you have your inside, so you have a wall, and usually if we're talking about residential houses, walls are made up of 2x4 or 2x6 studs. So you'll have the stud here, and then so we call the actual structural part of the wall, we call that the core, or at least Revit calls it core. And then you have things that you attach to the wall on the inside and the outside. So that's the sandwich that I'm talking about. So on the inside, the wall could maybe have a piece of drywall, right? So you'll have layer of drywall, and then on the outside you might have a layer of plywood, and then other stuff, but basically in a sense stucco, right? So in Revit you could actually specify the very type of wall that you guys are going to use. In our case, we're not going to go that specific. We're just going to use what we call a generic wall with a certain generic thickness. But it's really important that you understand when we say core, we're talking about the actual structural members. And when we talk about finish face, which you'll hear this terminology throughout our lecture. So finish face or finish material, we're talking about from edge to edge of finish, right? So please be mindful. These are the finish, and that is the core. So finally, let's get a little bit dirty with Revit and get on with this. So what I did was I have a sample project for you guys to kind of trace at the moment. So if you guys go back onto Canvas, you'll find a hyperlink to a project folder called East Ridge. So please download the whole file into your personal computer or to your flash drive. And then from there, you'll be able to find all the assets that you need to complete this project. So first, what I like to do is I like you guys to import an image so that you can trace. So you're going to go to Insert, Import PDF, and you're going to find the file where you have downloaded, and you're going to open up a file called East Ridge RTI. It's a full set of construction documents that you'll eventually use as a reference. But for this particular exercise, you just need page 7 here. So we're going to just kind of put it off to the screen at the moment. And so what we want to do is, this is our project for now, is we're going to create a floor plan of this project. And a couple of things before we pay too much attention to this file, let's just kind of take a look at the floor plan. So we are at level 1, and on the properties of this level 1, we are looking at this drawing at an 1/8 inch equals a foot. So that's the first thing I'd like you to change. In architecture, most floor plans are shown at a 1/4 inch per foot. And then let's just now get on to kind of setting up our tracing file. First thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the walls are in actual scale, meaning this drawing should measure 18 feet 3 inches from here to here. So let's just make sure that it is scaled properly. So if you come down here, oh, by the way, this tab in your screen by default might show up at the top. What you want to do is you want to come here and say show below the ribbon. You don't have to, but I prefer it there. It's a lot closer than going all the way up here. So anyhow, there is a measuring tool. So you can just click a point from here and put it here. And it's actually measuring like 36 feet. So we know that this is out of scale. So what we want to do is we want to select it, and then you want to hit this button here, which is a scale button. And then I'm just going to use this number 32. So I'm going to say from here, click, to here, click, and I'm going to just type in 32 feet. So I'm basically saying from here to here, make it 32 feet. So it actually reduced, but I'm going to do a sanity check by measuring again. Yep, 32 feet. So that's pretty decent. So I can use that as a tracer. I would recommend just bringing this floor plan about the middle of these 4 elevation markers, roughly. And then I like you to just lock it so that you're not selecting it and shifting it and moving it around. And to lock it, you'll notice that whenever I click something, Revit actually changes the tab. Let me try that again. You see how right now I'm in the Insert tab or the Architecture tab. Once I select something, Revit kind of anticipates what you want to do and say, hey, did you want to modify this thing and do all of this stuff? Say yes. So I'm going to click this pin button, and then now I have a pin there, so it won't let me select it and move it, right? It just kind of locks into place. Okay, a couple of other things. I didn't really go through the navigation, but on your scroll button, if you scroll, if you move your wheel, if you scroll your wheel, that'll get you zooming in and out. If you hold down your scroll button, that'll allow you to pan. So like for instance, let's say you zoomed in here, you can push the middle button and scoot that drawing to the center of the page or whatever you need to do. Okay, so most of your navigation is going to come through your scroll button and the scroll wheel. Alright, so now that we've placed the drawing and we scaled it and we've pinned it, I also want to introduce you to another tool, because sometimes seeing all these drawings in the background can kind of confuse you. Sometimes you want to hide this image. So to hide the image, you can hit this thing here called Hide in View, but you probably want to start using shortcuts. So the shortcut key will be EH for element hide. So select it and type EH, and that'll hide it. And if you want to bring it back, you want to hit this little light bulb here, and then it'll show you the thing that's hidden, and then you want to click unhide element and then toggle off, and then it will be turning on. Okay, so again, to hide so that you can temporarily see things so you're not confused, the shortcut key is EH. Alright, let's get into putting in a wall. So under the architecture tab, you have a wall family, and within that wall, by default, the Revit is loaded with a whole bunch of these walls. We actually aren't going to use any of these walls. We're just going to use a generic 5-inch wall, which is your typical, a standard stud wall really. Before we start clicking away, or hold on, I'll just click away, you can start making your walls. And if you notice that the walls are being made from the center of the line that you are drawing, and sometimes that's not ideal because you aren't able to snap the center of an image right here. So what you want to do is when you make your wall, you go to your wall command again, 5-inch wall. Over here, guys, I need you to pay attention. Location line. We're going to just say core face exterior. Remember what we talked about the core? That's the actual structural member of the wall. And then the height is going to go from level 1, meaning it's going to go from the floor of the first floor, and it's going to go, top is going to go up to level 2. So it knows that, and then it just tells you that that ends up being a 10-foot high. We're going to change that later to 8 foot, but right now we're going to just accept this and say, okay, yeah, we want to go from level 1 and level 2. So now if I start to kind of get the edge of that wall, and you can see I'm able to draw a wall that's going all the way across, and go ahead and go right over the windows and the doors, because we'll be placing the windows and door later. And I'll even blow through this area because later we're going to cut it all up. And if the wall's on the other side, you just simply hit your space bar, and it'll snap from one line to the next. For instance, here, I'll show it to you here. You see how it just toggles back and forth? Space bar. So go ahead and drop all your walls in. And even if you don't get your wall exactly in the location, it's okay, because you can just simply select it, use your arrow key to move it around, or use the dimension to get that. So here we go. So we have most of the walls in. Okay, so now let's drop in some windows and doors, and whenever we see a door swing here, we know there's a door there. We can see that the windows are hidden. Like I know there's a window here somewhere, but it's hidden. So we'll figure out how to get those in, but let's first pop in the doors because we know where the doors are. So you're going to go to the architecture tab, hit doors, and I'd like you to pick a 32 by, we want really 32 by 80, which is a standard size door. And Revit actually installed these 84-inch doors. More than likely you guys wouldn't be using them. So let's go ahead and modify one of these doors. So we'll take the 32 by 84. You're going to hit Edit Type. And then this tells you a lot of information about the door, guys. It tells you what the door material is, you know, whether it's wood or steel. You could obviously change that. The thickness of the door, obviously that's also changeable. What we really want to change is the height of the door to 6'8". 6-8 will give you that. And then we probably want to change the name of that. So we're going to say rename, and I'm just going to call it 80 inches, which is 6'8". And if you just kind of break it out into inches. Revit is loaded with a 32-inch by 80-inch door, and I just place it into the walls. So here, if you wanted to flip the other way, space bar. So we're just going to pop them in, and then we'll adjust them later. We'll put a door here, put a door here. And I think this is a sliding door, so we'll put the doors in later. And then this is like a laundry bifold door, and I'm not sure if that's been loaded. Nope, there's only a single flush door. So now we're going to load in a different type of door that wasn't part of the template, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go to door, and then you're going to say load family, or click, not say. It should take you to a default folder where Revit has all of its family loaded onto your computer. So if you look at it, this is the C drive, program data, Autodesk, Revit 2023, library, and then what you want to do is pick English Imperial. And then from there you want to pick doors. And so Revit comes with a lot of these doors. Now in our office, again, I have a lot of custom-made doors, but we are going to try to use everything out of the box, Revit out of the box. So you're going to go into residential, and then there's all these different doors there. And let's just use a double glass door for now. I mean, it's not exactly what I wanted, but let's just try to keep it within the Revit family. Once you do that, Revit wants to know what size door do you want to bring in. And of course, it doesn't matter. You can bring in all of them, but I suggest you only bring in what you like, so that way you can keep your files relatively light. And then of course you can always edit it and add more doors to it. So right now I'm just going to put in 60 by 80, which is a pretty narrow door. And so now it'll tell me I have an interior, 60 by 80, and I will put it right there. And right now the swing is pretty wide, and since these are kind of accessory doors, I don't like to show them as a 90-degree swing. So I'll cut that to like 15 degrees. And there you go. And then now I want to do an element hide so I can kind of see where my things are at. So now let's just kind of edit and cut up this wall, because obviously the wall doesn't go through the middle of the laundry. So this is one long continuous piece. So what you want to do is you want to slice it first. So to slice it, I think it's this guy. Nope. I usually use a shortcut command. It's called SL, but I'm not sure if I can find slice on the keyboard here or on the icon. No, it's not cut. Where is it? Oh, heck, I don't know. Type SL for slice. And then you want to cut that wall, right? So then this wall, you can move it back in. And that wall, you can move it back. And there you go. I believe this is a closet, I think. Let's bring the drawing back. Yeah, so this is a closet. So let's bring in a closet door. So I'm going to go back to a door. Of course, I don't have a closet door. So I'm going to go to Load Family. Sliding. So this is for your closet. Again, it's asking me what size do I want. I need a pretty wide this case, so I'm going to pick the 72 by 80. And obviously still not wide enough, because if I use this as a closet door, if I put closed in here, it's hard to reach. So you want to get a closet door that's full length. of the wall. So I'm going to come here to edit type, and the width is only 6 feet, and I know a closet you can get them at 10 feet, 12 feet, so let's try 10 feet, and let's go to rename, and so I believe 10 feet is 120 inches. So there you go. I can move it up and down to kind of center my closet. So here is the dilemma here, is that I can't see where my windows are because my walls are solid white. So what you want to do is you want to come down here and go to wireframe, and then you can see now through the walls, right? So let's put in some windows here. And again, I don't care if you guys are using exactly the same size window. What I do care about is that you guys are learning how to load and unload families, and then window families, and make changes to the window families. So let's go to the windows now, and Revit came in with a bunch of fixed windows, a double casement window, and a double hung window. So for this example, I am going to just kind of put in a bunch of fixed windows here, just so that I can get it started. And I'm going to hide this so I don't have to see it. So at this stage, guys, I really don't care whether the floor plan is identical to what you guys see, but I do want you guys to start designing this floor plan out. So go ahead and put the proper windows. So now if you don't want a fixed window and you want a sliding window, and you don't have one loaded here, so then you want to go to your window, load family, and then you want to go up to the English Imperial, and then click Windows, and look for windows that you want. So here's a sliding, window sliding, double sliding. So I'll open that up. It's asking me what size window do you want. In this case, maybe I'll pick a few. I'm going to hold down Control so I can just pick a handful of ones that I think I'm going to want to use. And there it is. So I can now say, instead of that one being fixed, I can use a 3 foot by 42 inch sliding window. And then here's a window. Oh, another important thing. You see these little things here? This arrow means this is the outside of the window. So if I click on this, now they're saying that this is the outside of the window. And so that makes a big difference in your rendering, because the way how a window is trimmed out on the inside versus outside, they're different. So be mindful of these arrows, and the walls are the same way. That means that that's the outside of the wall versus this is the outside of the wall. So be careful when you see that. In a lot of the families, they have it. Again, that's the outside of the door, and that's the inside of the door. So you'll see that a lot, and this is a flip. If you see this, a parameter is called a flip parameter. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop my demo here. I'd like you guys to put in the windows and just really design out where all the windows, where you want the windows, how high you want the windows. Oh, before I go, here is a 3D view. So here's a 3D model. Again, zoom in and out and pan. And now you're going to be able to rotate in this view. Hey. So shift, and then the scroll button, you push it down, and that allows you to rotate your model, right? Couple of things. Now remember, I talked about levels and how important levels are. So let's go to the elevation. Right now, by default, Revit gave us 2 levels, which we will add more levels later. So think of this as your first floor, the floor line of your first floor, and level 2 will be the top of your ceiling. So most houses are 8 foot tall. So what you want to do is I want you to bring this level down to 8 feet. And you see how powerful it is, because the wall was connected from level 1 to level 2. So when we change to level 2, it'll automatically change the height. You don't have to draw it. So basically, if I move this level, then the wall will follow along with it, right? And so it's really important that you understand all of these options, so that way when it comes to editing later, it'll just save you a ton of time. Okay, so let's go back to 3D view. So there you go. You can take a look at this view. And let's say you want a window. Right now this window, the top of the window is at 7 feet. You want that to be 6'8" so that it matches the door, the height of the door. Again, I'm rotating by holding down Shift and then the middle mouse button. And I'm going to click on this so that I can get a straight on view. You see how the windows are a little bit taller than the door frame itself, because this is set at 7 feet. So you're going to go to 6'8", so you can match the tops of the windows. 6'8", 6'8". Okay. So anyway, you guys can go around and fix all the other windows too if you like, and I'll see you guys in the next demo.